My name is Darell Dubois, and I'm here to talk about how I was abused by a psychiatrist and how I remedied that problem eventually. I have AIDS, and I was tested for the possibility of having dementia, and that test came out positive through a psychological evaluation. And as it came out positive, my doctor immediately referred me to a psychiatrist who immediately, even though I was showing no symptomology of psychosis, the test said I was psychotic, and even though I was showing no symptomology, was not behaving in any way psychotic, the psychiatrist immediately put me on Zyprexa and Seroquel. I went from 175 pounds to 326 pounds. I developed congestive heart failure. I became borderline diabetic. My cholesterol and triglyceride levels went through the roof. I explained to the doctor that I was really concerned for my life, that I needed to get off these meds immediately, as soon as I could at least, that he needed to start weaning me off the meds. You can't just stop them, you have to be weaned off. And I explained to them that I thought I should be weaned off the meds as soon as possible, and we should either use different meds or not use meds because it was causing me so much problems that I thought that was necessary. He refused to do that. And by this time I was actually starting to show active symptomology of psychosis. Eventually it got to the point where, because he wouldn't take me off the meds, I actually developed active symptomology for psychosis, ended up spending 10 days in a psychiatric lockdown unit, at which point my case was turned over to another psychiatrist. So the new psychiatrist put me on Abilify and Cymbalta. So those were the meds that replaced the Seroquel and Zyprexa. Since being put on those meds, I've done considerably better, but I want off the meds. I don't think I need them. I think they're hampering me more than helping me. So my next step is to convince this new doctor that I don't need the meds, that the signs that I'm showing of symptomology now are medication related, not psychosis related. So that's the challenge ahead of me, is to get this doctor to agree to take the meds out of my life. Because I really believe that the symptomology that I'm showing is medication induced, not psychosis induced. I had no history of psychiatric disorder at all before taking the Zyprexa and Seroquel. I had no psychiatric history previous to that. And I believe I have none now, if it weren't for the medications. So that's kind of the long and short of my story. I am a long-term AIDS survivor. I was diagnosed in May of 1983. There are not very many of us left alive who were diagnosed with AIDS in 1983. I've survived a lot. I use a lot of alternative medicines. I have used a lot of acupuncture. I've used a lot of Reiki treatments. I used a lot of chiropractic treatments. And I believe all of those things can help address my mental health issues as well as these medications do, probably better. My history tells me that Chinese herbology and a lot of these other things that I'm using work, and work well. I've also used a lot of meditation and biofeedback techniques, which I believe in strongly. And I think that kind of thing can really help, would really help, and could really help control whatever psychiatric issues I may have or may not have without this medication in my life. So that's what I'm trying to convince my psychiatrist of. He's being fairly resistant to the idea of me going off meds. So I'm sort of looking for an advocate to work with me to address this problem. I'm a fairly good advocate for myself. As a person with AIDS, I've learned to be an advocate for myself. But this world of psychiatry is a little different ballgame than anything I've run into before. So I think I'm going to have to enlist the help of another advocate to work my way through this issue, because it is a different world. This psych world is different than anything I've run into before. They're very set in their ways. They're very control-oriented. They don't want to let go of the control that they have, not very easily anyway. So that's my story. Thank you.